What is up, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition, as you can see on the screen, of This is Rocket League. We're gonna call it Quick Chats in honor of Daz and in honor of like the name that never got chosen. We got Noly. What's up, baby?
Yo, how we doing?
What's up, dude? Noly just got back from and of course, Hootie, please. Hootie, I love you. Hi.
That's right, we're here.
We're here. But I'm very excited to say this. Noly just got back from a manicure. You want to tell? Want to tell the people how it was?
I feel like it doesn't really show up well on camera, but honestly, it was like it gave life back into me. You know, it gave me some energy. Like I was feeling a bit down. You know, feeling quite low.
Yeah.
And Arsenal, you know, cause I live with him. He was like, let's go do something. So you know, we went and got a manicure.
You would never think.
No pedicure though.
Yeah, you would never think that Arsenal is like, yo, let's go out. I'm gonna bring your energy up. You're like, all right, where are we gonna go? We're gonna go drinking. We're gonna go do this. Blank. No, he takes you to get your nails done. That's so fire. And it was great, right?
It's so much better than anything else. You know, because now I feel good. And now that I feel good, you know, or I look good. And now that I look good, I feel good.
That's it. That's why I like dressing up my car in Rocket League, because then I feel better. You know, that's why I'm always shocked. A lot of pros. I mean, I guess they keep it simple. You know, just
placebos.
Placebos.
Yeah.
Placebos.
Yeah.
Well, hey, the reason we brought you here, the original reason, is because you had this tweet about 3 weeks ago. Obviously, you've been super busy with, you know, everything going on in RLCS, doing amazing, playing great. And then, you know, now I want to talk about this tweet. I want to bring it back up. Me and Hootie have been dying to just bring it up to you and just ask you some questions about it. Noly said, and actually, can I just, for me, how do you say your full name? Is it Nolyistic or Nolistic?
No. Don't. Nolistic is simply just because, like, nobody else has taken it, you know, like
that's nothing. So like if you could add it, it would just be Noly, Genji Noly.
Yeah. Awesome. So like my old name used to be Nolistic, and I was like, the stick is a bit, it looks a bit ugly. I like shorter names, so I just took off that and went to Noly.
I love it. All right, so Noly said, so many pros make such small mistakes that could make them great. And I want to say something, but I don't want it to be like I have a big ego, but it's such small things like minuscule levels, even mentality. I say this because I'm not fantastic mechanically, but I win because of the mentality and willingness to grind and treat this like a job. So when I see mechanical beasts just lose it, it frustrates me that people are wasting so much potential, but maybe it's not that deep. And I don't think did you get flack for this at all? No, right?
No, I didn't get any flack, actually, no.
Yeah, people agreed. And I love that mindset of, I mean, Hootie, you talked about it a lot. You can go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I love seeing stuff like this because I think, and the part that is so important to me, and I've heard Jack say things like this, but treat this like a job. And I'm not saying that you have to sap the fun out of it, but I do feel like a lot of pro players maybe don't treat it the same way they would as like a traditional sport, right? Like they just rely on that pure mechanical ability, like you mentioned. And I do think it's getting better as time goes on, but I love seeing pro players speak up, because here's the thing: when someone else that's not a pro player says it, it's very easy to brush that opinion aside. It doesn't really mean anything. But when you say it, it holds a lot of weight. So John and I both saw that, and we were like, man, let's dig into that. Let's see what Noly has to say about it. So the floor is yours, man. Talk about that and just what prompted you to say that. You know, maybe even share a little bit of your feelings and expand on that specific tweet and what you were thinking there.
Yeah, I can do. So first of all, I think the only reason why it was perceived well is not just because I'm a pro, but because I'm a pro doing well. You know, when I tweeted that, I was at the top. So like when you're at the top, I could literally tweet like I could tweet 1 + 1 = 3, and people have to believe it because like I'm doing, like I'm winning from my own formula, which I said, you know, like mentality is starting to take a primary role in becoming a top competitor.
Yep.
So can I ask you real quick, do you think like a coach of Rocket League, I know this is a whole other topic, but like the mentality, right? Like could someone like me, and this is, you can totally say yes or no, who is like maximum I've ever gotten is like Grand Champ 2. Do you think, and I don't know much about like the rotations and stuff like that, could I still be a coach in Rocket League just because I hype the crap out of people?
Of course. Yeah, there's different types of coaches. Like there's super like analytical coaches like Gregan and Nick. Like they're the two ones who stick out for me.
Yeah.
They're like they're better for less experienced teams. because like once you're at the top, like you know how to play Rocket League. You know,
Right.
you don't have to get told how to play Rocket League. But what you need is somebody to enforce you mentally. Which for us at Gen G, that's what we have with Alu. Like Alu reinforces our mental consistently. You know, he helps us so much. And to be completely honest, he doesn't tell us how to play Rocket League much. He doesn't coach us on
Like
the game.
That's awesome.
Unless it's like absolutely necessary. So yeah.
I love hearing that. I think that coaching aspect is something that is it's a unique thing because it's so different from traditional sports. I mean, the power dynamic is different between the players and coach from traditional sports. You know, the people that are getting coaching positions it's different from traditional sports. It's not like they have, you know, a full education background with training and coaching. It's all very different. And like you said, I think the important part is you mentioned it. There are different styles of coaching, right? There's not just one specific way. And each team may need different things. Like you guys, y'all actually have a pretty strong mentality, right? So, you know, you said the word reinforce. Like y'all's idea is already there, but he's there to reinforce in case you start slipping or maybe you end up frustrated or whatever it might be. Whereas some of these teams that are maybe just raw mechanical talent, they might need a coach to kind of guide them. I know one thing that I always make as an analogy is like when geese fly, they make that V. I feel like that's what the coach has to do is like get that team pointed in one direction.
Yeah.
It might be mentality that needs their help. It might be on-field decision-making that needs their help, but whatever it is, that coach's job is to try to get everybody pointed in one direction.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
I want to dig in a little bit more though about this treat it like a job thing and just ask some questions about that because I think that is something that manifests itself in different ways, like the willingness to reflect on your own gameplay, right? To be critical of yourself and also be willing to take criticism from your team and coach and willing to respect those opinions, at least to the degree where you will hear it out and think about, well, why are they saying that? You know, whatever it may be. And then you know, treat it like a job. Is this something like time investment? Is this something like, you know, sleep schedule, physical health, mental health?
No.
What all is it? You know, what all are you mentioning here?
Sleep schedule, it's not important unless like it interferes with like real practice and like team practice and like RLCS times. Whereas outside of that, like you can sleep and wake up whatever time you want. It doesn't bother me. I will say though, like what I've noticed with myself, you know, everyone's different, is that the later I sleep and like the later I wake up, my mental health is worse. Yeah. So what I will say with treating it like a job, like you don't have to sleep at certain times. You don't have to do certain things. But if certain things affect you mentally worse, and you know that, then it's not treating it like a job. You know, you're not taking it seriously to the point where you can win. Because like no orgs are going to be paying these players like I'll put it bluntly, 6 figures a year. Yeah. To not try to win, which like it annoys me a lot because a lot of players are just complacent and content with being like middle of the pack and okay, but orgs don't realize what they're getting into with those players. Yeah. So like those players can play more hours. Like personally, I think a pro player they shouldn't play less than 7 hours a day, maybe 6, because some players have school.
Yeah. Dang, that's and that's a lot. But when you compare it to a 9-to-5 job or something, right? It's not. Right. That's not crazy.
Exactly. Like for us on Gen G, aside from Chronic, like well, I mean, I guess me and Jack, we put in like 120 hours past 2 weeks, like pretty consistently.
Damn, man.
And, yeah,
I know it's a lot. It's a lot.
That's a 60-hour work week, which is is that not more than a real job, or no? Because like I've never had like a real job. I've been fortunate to like have this as my main income for my life, but.
I think 60 would be considered more than your
average job is like 40 hours, right?
Yeah.
Is it 9 to 5? That's like
there's you know the obvious aspect that this is unique. You know, you guys are working weekends and nights and just odd hours.
Also home.
The thing is, your work
you know.
doesn't turn off. Like you don't clock out and go home, right? It's always on. You're getting feedback in social loops, social platforms. It's a whole thing, and it's not easy. But I think you mentioned it too, where like some of these orgs are paying very handsome salaries, right? They're taking care of these players, and the players should value that and take care of their org, who is, you know, 100%. Rewarding them and hoping that they will put in their best effort to be the best player that they can be.
And players just don't want to do that. Like it's a common occurrence, but it tends to be with the younger and I guess more mechanical players. So that's when I tweet out, you know, about mechanical beasts like throwing away such a big opportunity. Yeah, it's those guys who aren't putting in their like the enough hours, you know.
Do you think that's like a younger thing though? Because obviously you get older, you get wiser, and you realize, hey, on it, like even you saying like waking up a little earlier, taking care of my health, like even working out or whatnot, like makes me feel better. That's like kind of usually an older thing.
Yeah, oh for sure. Like you can't blame, like I don't blame these younger players for how they are.
Yeah.
Simply because I was that way too. You know, I was extremely immature. I was toxic. I was annoying for like all my coworkers, and like I didn't want to put in the hours. You know, like, and I regret it because I feel like I could have gotten a lot more out of it back then.
Yeah.
And like I just want these younger players to realize that like they have so much time. They have so much time to do anything else. But while they're the best at the game right now, they might as well try and like maximize how good they can be.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, man.
It definitely is.
Yeah, but again, it is only for like I don't think the younger players will listen simply because like.
I mean, yeah.
Why are they going to listen to anybody else? You know, at the end of the day, they're going to think they're absolutely right. But I hope that maybe 1, 2, or 3, you know, like players might take my tweet into account, simply because like where I am and who I am in the game, like that they might respect my opinion and then take it and elevate themselves.
Dude,
let me ask you a couple questions about mentality. What are some things that you think could maybe help a team environment? Because obviously you have your individual mentality of how you deal with losses and deal with even success as well. Because some people, we've heard just recently, Chalkcast last week, Andy talk about how that first top 4 they had kind of blew their head up a little bit and maybe, you know, impacted them in their next couple tournaments.
Yeah.
So you have that individual level, but you also have a team level as well. And so talk about some things that you guys maybe implement as Gen G to help keep your head on straight, especially after experiencing so much success.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously I don't want to give away too much.
That's what I was gonna say. Don't give away the secret sauce.
Yeah, no.
Do not give away. They all get manicures. They all go.
Nah, but it's like as a team, we're extremely open with each other.
Yeah, communication.
And like I do believe a part of like how we've succeeded is just because we got lucky with each other. Like we click extremely well, so everything else is easier to do.
Yeah.
Be like open communication is the very first thing I'll say for any team. You know, like there's no point keeping things from your teammates.
Right.
And like that doesn't mean that you have to confront your team directly. You know, if you're there with if you have a coach,
that's right.
You know, use the coach. That's what a lot of players don't realize is that they've got another person there to be unbiased. Although I will say, 40% of coaches tend to be biased towards at least 1 or 2 players on the team. Anyway,
just natural human, sadly, instantly. Just
it is. And that's unfortunate. But you know, if you do have a coach and you feel like you need to say something, that's something you can do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, I want to say, you know, you mentioned it's kind of good fortune, and I think there's probably a level of validity to that, especially because Chronic's over here in NA, and you got like, I think the funniest thing ever is that you didn't even know Chronic.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like
how?
It's so funny.
What do you mean how? Like I never paid attention to NA or else.
I mean, Chronic's just kind of lower level NA.
Yeah, like he was lower level NA. I don't really watch show matches. Like I don't care for that.
Yeah.
And he didn't really have like a big social or streaming presence or anything like that. So I mean, it makes sense, but it was very funny. But I wanted to say, you talk about the good fortune and how you guys clicked. I think it's because you treat it like a job. Jack treats it like a job. You guys have this aura, this professionalism. And I will be honest, I think if you plug you into a new team, I think you would still have that feeling of like you can fit in, but it's because you treat it that way, right? It's like,
I
you know,
agree.
everybody's on this wave of like play with the people that you get along with. But instead, what we need to be saying is like, let's get along with who we play with, right? Like invert it. We've got it backwards where we think I'm limiting the options that I have because I can only play with people that I'm comfortable with
Fully vibe
because
with
I'm immature. But instead, you guys can play with pretty much whoever, a player that you don't even know because you treat it like a job. You have this level of professionalism where you're willing to respect his opinion, even though he's brand new and he has not accomplished anything that you have or Jack has. Y'all respect him the same way, and that's because you guys are true professionals, and I admire y'all both and the way y'all approach it quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, like if Chronic comes to us, you know, and we don't respect him with what he's saying, like, what's the point in him being on the team?
Yeah.
Totally.
Like, if you're a team, you do everything 100% together.
Yeah.
You know, you lose together and you win together. So, like, no matter what Chronic has to say, it's always gonna... I mean, now, like, he's not a rookie anymore. You know, he's
right.
Nice.
He's one. He's
playing champion.
I'll be honest. Yeah, he is. Like, he's matured very quick as well. And like, I mean, that helps with like your surrounding as well. Like, something that doesn't really get taken into account quite a lot is your background, you know, where you grew up, who you grew up with, like those things will affect how you are to like as a player to this day. So yeah, Chronix got a lovely mum and dad who keep his head on straight, so he can be the best him.
There it is. Good parents. Good parents.
And I think that's why he was like comfortable being open with me and Jack and transitioning into the team.
Dude, that's awesome. Well, I'm gonna ask something kind of fun because I'm dying to know. Noly, this is very important. Okay, a lot of people probably want to know this. Do you have a Spotify playlist? And if so, what does it consist of? And do you ever listen to it? Do you only listen during practices? Do you listen during games? Or is it full comms? Like, what is the what's the vibe as far as music, and what are we listening to?
I'll be honest, I have a few playlists, but like my main public playlist is called Mine, which has 3,529 songs.
Holy what?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So it's like 197 hours if I listen to it, but when I say I listen to every genre of music, there's no limitations.
You do, and that'll come on. So you could go from classical to country to rock to hip hop.
Literally everything.
Let's
go. I listen to other country, like other like nationality music as well.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm pretty big in Brazilian music.
Oh
so,
yes.
Yeah. When I was on KC, I listened to like French music quite a bit. So yeah.
Dude, and
That's really cool.
Do you ever listen to it? Like, do any pros listen to it while playing? Like in.
Yeah. Me. Well, I mean, not most, but like say like maybe honestly like 30% of pros will listen to music during tournaments and scrims. Yeah, I do. But like when I play a tournament, I tend to loop one song that I'm feeling at that moment in time.
That's awesome. And if you lose like the game, you'll switch the song?
No, I won't.
Okay.
Honestly, I've never thought about that. That's something that I potentially could do.
It was the song. It was the song.
Oh no, John, you're opening new levels of placebo.
New levels of placebo.
I know. Sorry.
Yeah, so far I've just like looped one song throughout the whole thing.
That's awesome.
Okay, so this is going to be tough then if you listen to all genres, even other languages that you may not speak. Could you give us like your top 5 favorite artists at the moment? Not of like all time or anything, but just like at the moment, your top 5. Yeah, your top 5 artists that you're listening to.
What do people go listen to right now? Hey, you can even
for me, SZA right now.
Okay.
For me. Yeah. So someone called Nujabes. He's like.
Oh,
you know
I love that. Yes, Nujabes. Yes.
Yeah. ASAP Rocky's.
Yes.
He's like one of my main focuses right now.
Of course.
There's a UK artist called Unknown T, which I think if you don't listen to UK music, you should get into it because he has like one of the hardest like flows and the way his voice is extremely deep. So like it adds like an extra special. And also like something that like when I wake up every day, not every day, but like as of recently, is Bob Marley. I wake up, I wake up, I put Bob Marley on the speaker. I try and clean my room a bit. I'll jump in the shower. I'll do something to make myself feel good and to get my day started.
That's right. Start things on the right foot. I love that. That's incredible, and that's definitely some variety there.
So chill.
So I have a question, Noly, about your decision to come to NA. I've heard you speak on this a couple times. I know that the off season consisted of some options, and then you and Jack kind of decided that y'all are going to go ahead and duo, and then maybe look for some thirds. So did you guys talk about NA before you decided that third? I guess just what is the timeline with this, and how did that formula look as far as moving to NA? What was that decision making process like?
Well, the day before Jack went to Bali on holiday for 2 weeks, I got kicked. So then that's where I hit up Jack and I was like, yo, would you want to try out with me? And he was like, oh, I leave for a holiday tomorrow. I won't be able to, but I can when I get back. And that was in 2 weeks time. So I was like, okay, maybe
2
I can
weeks
wait.
is forever.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I was just like, maybe I can wait. I'll see if there's other options. And nobody brought me a good vibe the way Jack did. Like I had like a good energy towards him. Like I trusted him,
Yeah.
So I was like a few days into his trip, I just said to him straight up, I was like, you want to go LF1? Like we can look about and see what to do. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. So like the day after, so maybe like 4 or 5 days into his trip, we spoke about like some EU options, and I'll be honest, we weren't really feeling any.
Dang, some of the players just like we felt like we wouldn't work with them. Not that they're not
good. Not that they're not good players,
right?
But like it just didn't feel the right fit. So then I think maybe in NA, I don't know if it was Gen G or maybe a different org hit us up from NA at the time. I was like, hey, this is a possibility. You want to move up? Like, we can move you over. And me and Jack were like, okay, we like this. Let's.
That's crazy.
Let's see what options there are. And then we started looking at NA options. And then maybe 4 days later, we decided on Chronic. And then with a few days left of Jack's trip, it was just negotiating contract deals and.
All while he's gone, dude. Like on a trip to Bali.
Yeah. So let's summarize real quick. Jack and Noly, no tryout, but they go ahead and lock in as the duo.
Crazy.
Jack, if I remember this story, I think from a different podcast, Jack brings the idea of Chronic to Noly. Noly doesn't know who he is, but buys in. So they have three people, no tryouts, new country. And then they just go on a tear, absolutely destroy NA.
Crazy.
Win not just NA, the entire world, take on the major and win that as well. What a freaking story, dude. That is seriously, like, do you realize how crazy that is?
Yeah.
To be honest, like I sometimes sit there and I'm like, I don't think about this enough. Like sometimes I feel sometimes I feel like super ungrateful just because I'm not like wow, you know, like what have
freaking
we
out
just
about
done?
it. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I always knew I'd be extremely successful in Rocket League. Like that's something like I know I'll go on to win worlds at some point and so on. But just to do it in a new continent, with a brand new team, it was just kind of like, wow, you know, like how have we just done this?
I mean, that's the pressure from just being in America for your first time and like just setting up and being like, all right, I'm here. Like not even really getting to like enjoy that. Obviously, you had some great moments of like enjoying it, but like you're like, yo, get to work. Like, show us what you're gonna do. Yeah. Like, it's just like
the thing is that like this whole time, like our only competition wasn't against North America.
Yeah.
For me, like I also had competition against Carmine Corp because they just kicked me, but also the rest of Europe because we don't want to leave EU and then get shit on by. I'm sorry if like I don't know if I'm allowed to like.
Cuss away, buddy.
Oh yeah,
we're all adults here, man.
Well, we didn't know if we were gonna get shit on. Yeah. So like I have to emphasize that, you know.
Yeah.
So
let's go.
It was just nerve-wracking, just having to represent EU.
Yeah.
To be like, you know, we are a good region. Yeah. It was tough, and also we had to compete against Complexity and Furia because like we didn't want to be the worst imports, you know.
So let me ask this because I know that I've heard you say that you had interest in America well before like Rocket League stuff, right?
Rocket League, yeah.
So what are some of the things that interested you about America and potentially moving here?
Well, I mean, being from the UK, like I don't know if you guys know this, but America, like as a kid watching YouTube, America's always been super glorified. Like
without a doubt, yeah.
Like everything's perfect, you know, everything's flowers and roses and whatever. So then when I got to sort of an age where I was like, okay, maybe I should start thinking about like my future and what I want to do, me and a couple of like IRL friends who I've known since I was 3 years old were like, if all goes well from our current degree, because we were all going to go to computer science for college, we were like, we should make this much money and we should be able to do this, and now let's figure out where to live. And Austin was our main focus.
Dang.
So cool.
Yeah, and that was in that was when I was like 16 in college.
And were you like jamming Rocket League at all then?
Yeah, so I was already in RLRS at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, I was already in RLRS when I was 16 with Xenomoon, and yeah, we were like looking at houses, we were seeing like the prices, we were looking at the weather, and back then I was set on Austin because like some of the houses we saw that were like huge were pretty cheap, and we were like, if we all save enough money, we could get a mansion, you know, and all of us. Like I'm sure like my friends don't mind me speaking on this, but like all of us sort of grew up pretty poor. So to see what we could potentially live in, it was like, wow, let's definitely do this.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, and then when I found out like I moved to NA, I was like, Austin is
where you want to be.
Yeah.
And also, wait, I need to know.
It's not cheap.
Have any of your friends got to come out and see you? Like, do you still talk to those boys or anymore?
Yeah, I talk to them every day.
Love it.
But they haven't come out to see me yet. I do want to get them out in Austin at one point. But
without a doubt.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's so cool, man. I love hearing that.
Yeah, that actually leads me to my next question I have for you, which is, how did you get into Rocket League originally? Like, you know, some people have like YouTubers they were watching, or some people have like whatever, you know, the game just looked interesting, or their friend brought it over and they jammed. What is your original, like, what got you into the game originally?
Well, it was one of my IRL friends. The game just came out on Xbox, I think it was.
Yeah.
And me and one of my IRL friends, like, we were, you know, I don't know if you guys ever sit there and just like scroll through like the game history and just like, because you're bored, you know, you want to find something new to play. So we were doing that, and Rocket League came up, and it was like, oh, let's try this. So we both played that. I hated it at first because there was no transferable skills, and I've always been pretty good at like every game I touched except Rocket League at first.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck this, I'm not playing.
Yeah.
I deleted it. I didn't pick it up for maybe a couple months.
Yeah.
And then one day I was just scrolling through my game history, and I was like, oh, I'll try it again. Eventually, I started getting better and better, and then I watched Jazer. I watched one of Jazer's videos, and I was like, this is when I was like gold at the time, when the ranks were like superstar and stuff like that.
Challenger.
Oh, I was challenger. Yeah, I was probably challenger 1 or 2, and I wanted to be a freestyler. So joined the freestyling clan, and then eventually worked my way up.
So cool.
You said you joined the freestyling clan.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, really? I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah,
So is there
nothing big, nothing like special?
Are there any like OG Noly montages that we could go find?
Little montages.
There is actually, yeah.
Yeah?
There's quite a few.
Oh,
I think so. Not on my channel, but there'd be some on the clan's channel, maybe.
we gotta scout this out. We're gonna have to scout this out. That's too good.
What clan was it, if you don't mind saying?
It was called Zyn, so ZYN.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, it was me, you know, some little 14-year-old kid, and these were all like 20-year-olds, you know. These were living life.
That's what it's about, man. That's what it's about.
What do you think about that formula of doing freestyling first and kind of like?
Nah, it's not needed, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just something that I did because I like trick shotting in COD, so it was like, you know.
Because I find it so fascinating with Joyo, you know, how capable he is mechanically. He's so creative, and he just moves in a way that a lot of players don't move. And I think, obviously, a lot of that does come from that freestyle background. So it's very interesting.
It'll definitely help for the future, but I don't think it's needed. It's not something needs to... Not something people need to think about.
I'm going to ask a random question about Rocket League specifically, because this comes up occasionally, and I know my answer to it, but do you think that we are close to the skill ceiling?
No.
Do you think that we're pretty much there and like going to refine from here on?
Oh, no?
No, look at Zen. You know,
I totally agree.
Like,
I'm with you. I don't think we're anywhere close.
No, Zen just came in and just obliterated the ceiling. You know,
he did.
He showed what people can do, and now people are going to be like, oh, look at Zen. And then that's going to elevate even more. I don't think the skill ceiling's so far off. I don't even know if you can put a skill ceiling on anything. You know, can people not
just think about this is blowing my mind. Like,
can people not just constantly get better at something? Like, why does there have to be a cap? You know, like, why does there have to be a max?
The reason I find it so hard to buy into is like, it came out in 2015. It's 2023. You know, almost a full 8 years later, I guess. And like, there's still things being discovered regularly, you know, like this whole, like this zap dashing.
Zap dash.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
exactly. And this is like
wall dashes, like people are starting to like double flip reset, triple flip reset in RLCS.
And I personally, I think that dashing is like, I think that's going to accelerate the pace of play so much. And it's going to allow players to further extend defensively, further extend offensively, because the recovery is going to improve. And I think you made a great point. Like Zen, seriously, just, you know, if there was a ceiling right now, he just blew right through it, right? Like he is unbelievable. His car control and ball control is like literally mind-boggling, awe-inspiring. So I'm so glad to hear that, because that's just validation for my opinion.
And it is cool to like see back on these clips, like watching what the top tier of gameplay was 3 years ago and 6 years. Like, you really do see a big difference.
I've had some debates with people, like with other pros and like my old team or whatever. And at one point we debated if we could like 1v3 season 2 or season 3.
Ooh. What do you think? Could you?
Not me personally. I don't think I have like the solo carry to dominate a 1v3 against, like, you know, prime Northern Gaming. But I definitely think someone like Zen, Daniel, First Killer, Jack, Chronic, Beast Mode, you know,
could do it.
I definitely think one of those could do it for sure.
I think the only thing would be the intelligence intelligence of the pros back then, right? Because they're gonna be smart. They're gonna know how to use tactics. They're gonna know to like demo and stuff like that. Whereas,
oh, here we go.
You don't think they would be able to take advantage of a 3v1 situation?
Pros are still stupid now. Like,
I mean, okay, I don't disagree with that, but I'm saying like.
No, but I genuinely back then, like, players were very dumb. Like, it was just all about like, let me hit the ball, let me do this, let me do that. You know, like it was.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and plus back then, like, nobody was going for flip resets, so you can't like if Fiskler, like if none of them are going for flip resets, right? And FK knows he can, or like I'm using FK as an example.
Right.
Like FK knows that no one can flip reset. He's just gonna go straight at the ball and he's won it. You know, like back then options were so limited.
True.
So it's like he knows what to do.
I wish we could set that up, dude. I wish there was a way to set that up, like some AI generated. Like with AI, you can do it, but it just wouldn't be the same. Like,
yeah, I know.
A time machine, man.
First killer versus Marky Duda. Match of the century.
Please, man, bring us back. Well, Noly, hey, man, seriously, thank you so much for everything. For your time, for talking to us in depth about this. The last thing I want to leave on is, I mean, dude, you got regionals coming up next month. Are you excited? Are you ready?
You mean the major?
Or major, dude. I'm still learning this. Remember, I'm the newbie. I'm the guy.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, the major coming up. Are you pumped about it? Are you?
Yeah, of course I'm pumped.
You like doing it live? Is that like way more fun for you?
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't mind doing regionals before. Like I got super hyped for them, but after winning the major, I will say I sort of got a bit like lackluster when it came to regionals. Not entirely, because I still, brought the energy and I tried to be, give it my all.
Right.
But it didn't feel the same as on stage.
Right.
So I think getting back to that point again, and people have got us that third seed and second seed. So I want to win the major to prove to people that we are still the best team in the world.
Let's go, man. Well, I know there's going to be a ton of people rooting for you. Thank you for coming on. Chat, or anyone watching this, make sure to go check out Noly. We'll put his Twitter, we'll put his Twitch. You're streaming, right? Aren't you streaming?
Sometimes, yeah, when I'm in the right mindset.
Yeah, here and there. So thanks, man. We'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.
Thank you for having me.
Out.